pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pete Pedersen,
Here.
Councilmember Norris Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Corey Pedersen,
Here.
Councilmember Lindsay Larson,
Here.
Councilmember Dave Dillon, absent.
I did send him a note that we weren't meeting about the audit. Because that's the one that he usually skips is the audit.
Yeah. True.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Lindsay, how do you vote?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Pete, yes. Norris?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'll now close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the 2021 Geo Street Reconstruction Bond. Did we get any type of thing?
Letters. Mm-mm. None that I am aware of.
No public input or output?
The only possibility, I guess, is if they would have sent it to Tammy Paff directly and she's been
Okay.
gone, so.
Okay. The only thing that should be made a comment at the public hearing is that the post office requests that they, at the same time that they're doing that alley, that they do that. That was a request that we had a long time ago, that the post office wanted something. So that should be part of the public hearing. Other than that, any comments from any of the council members on the public hearing or things about the project that the public should know, other than that post office would be also invited to participate?
No.
Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Resolution number 2130, establishing a procedure related to the compliance and reimbursement of bond regulations under the Internal Revenue Code. I'll entertain a motion to do so.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion, you're on.
Okay, George Eilertson, Northland Securities. Just for reintroduction, we're the firm that helps you with the, when you need to look at borrowing money. And so the resolution, just for a brief explanation of the resolution that's on the table is, it's one that we recommend that most municipalities consider approval of. It's a matter of, when you issue bonds, sometimes your first invoice on the project gets there before the bond money gets there. So the IRS would like you to pass this reimbursement resolution, which in so many words says that you plan to, if you have to dip into general fund reserves to make a bond, or not a bond payment, but a contractor payment, that you plan to reimburse yourself when the bond money shows up. So in short, that's what it is.
Okay, then from there, right now you're estimating, or Stanick is estimating the 925,000, and that's what you will be preparing the bonds for at this time?
We currently have bonds sized at, Stantec's number of 925, and then you build in costs of issuance, which includes, if the bond stays this large, and it depends on the length of financing, the city has a very good bond rating, a AA- bond rating of Standard & Poor's. If the economics make sense, it costs about $10,000 to $11,000 to get the rating. But compared to not using the rating, the interest cost is driven down by the benefit of the rating. It's kind of like your personal credit score. The better your credit score, theoretically, the lower the interest rate you'll borrow money at.
Wait, excuse me. If you look at what he's talking about is the last page before the 2130 resolution,
Yep, okay. And
that one there. The last
so
page,
this-
oh, Corey, you just went by that.
I don't think so.
Okay, it's the last page before the.
What is this?
before- It's quite a ways back.
Is that the one that says the scenarios at the top?
Huh?
The ones with the scenarios at the top?
yeah, this. you've
The
got-
10-year, 15-year, okay.
Yep. And so what this page does is it describes 10, 15, and 20 years to finance the 925, and then including the cost for the bond rating, the financing costs, and the legal costs. So you borrow what shows as the bond amount, so 960 or 965,000. And one of the things that I hope to accomplish tonight, and I know the mayor's potentially trying to save the taxpayers more money here tonight, is that if there wasn't ARP money or the recovery money, that this would be the size of bond you'd be looking at issue. And the potential exists, and I'm not sure, Mayor, if you want to talk about
Yeah.
that.
I earlier had a conversation with him. The financial money just came in with from the, I think it came in on May 20th, but we got the guidelines from League of Minnesota just today. And one thing that you can use the money that has come in, there's four things, and one is to make necessary investments in water and sewer and broadband. And we discussed that before, but now it's official that it's in there. And in Stanic's thing, there's 150,000 that is set aside for sewer and storm sewer. Now, see, I don't know if storm sewer is in that when they say sewer.
I would think they would broaden it enough.
Yeah,
to include-
I don't know. But water, so any projects we have this year, we can use that money. And that roughly is gonna be $105 per capita of what comes in per person in July. So if we say roughly make it 100, we should be right up around the 400,000 if my math is correct. You know, if we have 3,900, I think that's what our sign is, or is it 3,000?
People in our town,
Yeah,
2,954.
2,000?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
just,
okay.
just under 3,000.
Okay, so it'd be 300,000, not
3,000.
400,000. Rough, that would be a rough estimation. That we'd have 300,000 and we could use some of that money for that. So, and then that would reduce that, 925,000 down pretty good. If we could use 150,000. But you said that we wouldn't have to make the decision on that bond. Or the other thing we could do is another street, but I'd rather stick to our plan that's in the 5-year street construction plan and be lighter on the taxpayers for this coming year till everybody gets back aboard. I don't know what the council feeling on that is.
I think either way, you know, if we have the bond already in place and then we get reimbursed from the state, you know, I don't know.
But if we accept the bond, I'd rather not have that interest in that principal laying over.
Yeah, but now
You know, I'd rather see that, if we're able to do the construction, go out for a bond in the neighborhood of, even drop it down to 800,000 instead of 925,000. You know, and save $125,000 that we wouldn't have to bond for.
Yeah.
So tonight, council, just to add on to what the mayor's saying is, you're not issuing bonds tonight. Tonight, we're just holding the public hearing, which is a requirement to do this before you can issue the bonds. We have to hold the public hearing and then allow 30 days for public comment, and then you can issue the bonds at any date thereafter. So June 1st being today, we could look at July 1st being the first time that you can issue the bonds. The resolution that we talked about earlier, where you're allowed to reimburse yourself, that actually works well in this situation because I'm agreeing with the mayor, which I should do, of course, but
That's a first for everybody.
I think these dollars are intended for those shovel-ready kind of projects, so it's not for a project for next year. It's meant to be used
This year.
this year. So this is a project that's ready to go.
Except they did in that, and I haven't gotten to it, I think we have till December of 2023 to use that money.
Okay,
If that's still in it. That was in the preliminary money, was December of 2023 was originally in there.
okay.
But those are things, you know, that I'm not 100% sure that stayed in there, because I haven't read all 151 pages of it.
Okay.
So really, all we gotta do is say, hey, we like this kind of scenario and this kind of look at. And there's nothing fixed on what we decide, other than saying we are gonna go out for bonds, is all we're doing tonight.
Yes, correct. You're not fixing the dollar amount for the bonds tonight. I mean, that's a great scenario. If you have a $960,000 bond, and now we can buy it down by $150,000 or $200,000, that's great. When you hear that, I'm not sure, it sounds like hopefully in July, you
Yes.
might find out the dollar amount. The city can pay for upfront costs on the project and then use the bond money after that. If we find out it's 150, we just downsize the bond before it's issued. And then it's a matter of when those monies come in, but,
Now, would it have to be what the bid comes in on that portion of the project?
now these are already, you already received your bids, correct?
No.
No, the bids are
These are estimates from
July
Stan.
1st.
Yeah.
You're approving them then.
So we won't know that exact amount, what's being spent on water and sewer, till the bids come in. Then we can readjust the bonds after that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So really, council, tonight is get that 30-day clock ticking, if you will.
Okay.
Because what you have to do, the only action, well, there's the action for the reimbursement resolution. There's a second resolution which approves the plan.
Okay.
It's that 5-year plan.
Yep.
And so you should do that tonight so that you're in a position July and thereafter that you can issue the debt. And admittedly, if you, actually, since you've got this page out in front of you, not to cut you off.
No.
And that never happens either, but, so you see 10, 15, and 20-year financing scenarios. If the city receives no grants, this is kind of one thing I'd like to talk about this evening is, which do you prefer? You see, the shorter the term, the higher the impact on taxes, as you see on the bottom of the page. The 15 or 20-year term stretches the financing out further, has a lower bond payment, and a lower annual tax impact as well. So we almost could look at, Mayor and Council, about, if you didn't receive grant monies, do you have a preference on this page? And we don't have to lock you in on this, but we're already preparing the bond official statement, which is the necessary document when we issue the debt. It's the story of Milaca, it's your audit, your most recent audit is in there, economic information, et cetera. And so we would have to make a few adjustments based upon what length of financing you prefer. But Mayor, Council, do you have any questions or comments on which length of financing?
Well, Norris, we normally go with, most of the time, the middle length, right?
I think, yeah,
That's what we've
that's
done
kind of
in
what
the
I'm
past.
looking at too, that 15-year term. Because the project itself has a life of 30 years or more on
Yeah.
the street. So we're not going to be looking at spending more money on that street anytime soon. But other than seal coating
Yeah.
after, 15 years or something, I think maybe, I don't know when the first seal.
The one thing to take into note, though, on page 2 of your, the 5-year construction plan, this is the smallest year. It's 925,000 estimated. The next year is 1,800,000, and then it's 1,350,000, and then it's 1,500,000. And with 100,000 a year just for the seal coating and that is in their plan on page 2 of the reconstruction plan. So we have to keep in mind that some of these are gonna be bigger projects. We're doing the smallest project this year, and the councils over the next 5 years have and those are estimated, so he probably put inflation in there, for 5 years out. So the project's probably not gonna be any greater, but will be more money because of inflation. I'm sure he has that built in.
So is that something to consider to bump out this bond longer than the middle value because we have larger projects coming up over the next 5 years?
It's a question, that's a decision the council has to make. If we got,
I think when we get like 3 years down the road, some of the bonds that currently exist will be paid off. So,
yes.
So these will be in their place, but
And we don't, right now, we don't have that many bonds out there. We're sitting in darn good shape,
yeah.
But the other thing is, if we can carry, the other part of that money forward and just use all the money we get on this COVID on, water and sewer and designated it all to that, it would relieve a lot more taxpayers than giving it out to individual people,
Is there any reasons to not use that money to put towards water and sewer?
I see no reason.
Yeah, I think that,
I would, but maybe Tammy's gonna come up with something, or there's something else that, that we have to look at. But I think citywide, you're gonna do more good to all the taxpayers if you use it exclusively for water and sewer projects, If that December 2023 is still in effect. I would use 150,000 and 150,000 next year to help out the taxpayers, But more research has to be done on that, so. So in essence, all we should do today after this discussion, unless you guys got more to add, is vote to pass this resolution now. And then vote to accept the 5-year plan. And then we have everything in place for July 1st when you come to bond, correct?
Well, July first, there's no requirement that we need to issue the bonds right away.
Right.
But that opens up the window, effective July first, that you can issue bonds going forward.
Okay.
Phil asked me, it sounds like you'll be getting your construction bids right around, I think, June 25th or so.
Yeah.
And then I believe there's a city council meeting to approve like July 1st, right around there.
It would be the 3rd week in July,
The 15th?
Unless you do a special meeting.
unless we do a special.
Okay, I think he was hoping to do that.
Okay, and that's fine.
So then it's, you have cash reserves certainly that the city
Yeah.
has that you could use on a short-term basis. So what I'm saying is there's no urgency that you need to issue the bonds right away. I mean, you wanna do it this year certainly to pay for this project, but there's time to figure out, do you get the grant money? It sounds like, if you get 300,000, let's put 150 towards this year and maybe 150 towards next year. And then one of the benefits certainly of this year is, and I don't have the crystal ball to know what next year brings, but interest rates this year are very favorable, so. So that's good. And stretching it out from, say, 10 to 15 years doesn't hurt you because interest rates are still favorable, so.
So it's resolution 2130 that we need to this evening?
What we're voting on right now is 2130.
Okay.
And that's just the go-ahead, that we are going to issue the bonds in compliance.
Do you need a motion?
No,
No, we already have.
Norris made the motion, I seconded.
Yeah. So if that handles everything from your standpoint, Corey, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pete, yes, Norris,
Aye.
and Lindsay?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. So we took care of that. Now, the only thing we're doing now is adopting, I'll entertain a motion to adopt, resolution 2131. Is, the 5-year plan for approval and issuance of a general obligation bond. So what we're doing now is almost what we discussed is adopting that plan. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on that plan?
This, like any other long-range plan, is subject to change. I mean,
Yes.
next year, we can revise
Yeah.
it, we can
Yep.
add something, we can subtract something. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not locked in.
So if we needed to repair a certain street, we could do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if we find out one street has gone the pot more than another one, because we're not doing nothing in 2023, if you noticed. But I think the 2024 is a worse street than 2022, but we can always decide that at a different time. Because if you get over in front of the building center, I think that street is a lot worse than Hidden Pines is.
Oh, all the way down.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for
Yeah.
that patch of dirt to be repaired. Do you have any idea when that's gonna happen?
The what?
There's a huge patch of dirt, or it's like
Oh,
a water main broke.
That should be done this summer. That's where they dug up the sewer out over the winter, out up on,
Was like
Third.
seventh and third or something like
yeah,
that?
7th and 3rd.
Like 6th and 3rd,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
That should be redone this summer.
Yeah, it's not
That-
easy walking over that on
That's a
wheels.
question for Gary. So,
Okay,
But all we're doing is adopting this
Okay.
to go ahead with the project.
Great.
So any further discussion on it? Pete votes yes. Norris,
Yes?
Lindsay,
yes.
Corey,
Aye.
motion carries. I think that does it. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make, and then I'll second.
Norris, how you vote?
Aye?
Lindsay?
Yes.
Corey?
I
Pete? Should I just throw one? No, yes.
You want to keep up?